is going on, collectors and gamers? A different video. Well, this is a part of that sale where you buy 2 accessories. So I picked this up in the PS Portal. So I'm excited to use this because this is not my first rodeo when it comes to, I don't know how to say this, like a professional controller. I used to have one, and I'm gonna do a comparison between this and my previous ones. I know Xbox has done their kind of like their own professional controller in the past, and I've always had my eye on this Edge because my experience from the previous controller was really good. I don't do competitive gaming. It's not like I do, esports or anything like that. But I like the convenience of having the back buttons. I wish it didn't cost $200. Well, in this case, it did not, because this is, like I mentioned earlier, I got this for a pretty good deal. Well, the packaging right here, it's DualSense Edge. If this guy barely goes on sale, or if it doesn't go on sale at all. Now, I don't game as much as I used to, so even back then, I was just like, I always wanted it, but I was like, I'm not gonna use this as much. But I play sports, Madden, NBA, WWE. It doesn't really need this type of controller. But lately, I've been playing first-person shooter again, and my friends are asking me to get Black Ops. So I was just like, all right, maybe I'll get that. And you can see here, this is the accessories that it comes with. 4 sticks, different variations. One is taller, one is shorter. And then you have like a space for a stick module. This is the manual, which you could read as well if you want to. That is up to you. And let's take a look at the quality here. So the case itself, it's like a hard shell case, and I like it. Now the build quality of the controller feels pretty sturdy. Like you got the FN, the functions button on left and right. You don't really need that there. And then you do have this paddles, which, I am used to paddles. I like this idea because it just conforms to your hand. It's not, how should I say this? It's not weird to have them. And then you got the little buttons in here, or the switches. I don't know how you want to call them, but these paddles are mostly what I was accustomed to from Scuff back in the day. But this one feels a little bit different, more unique, because Scuff is it's more of a vertical, and now this is the switch that you see there is for the trigger, so mostly for a first-person shooter. Well, I don't know if there's any games that would take advantage of this. Let me know in the comments. I don't see the advantage of this when it comes to basketball or any sports or any games that I play. So let me know in the comments. Is this more? Can you do this with racing? Things of that nature. And look at this. You got 4 different sticks. You got the stick module, like if you ever get a stick drift or anything like that. The hard shell itself is nice material. It's really white. Get it dirty. Don't eat with Cheetos with this one, because I know the back part as well is rubber, the one where your fingers rest, but this is a very comfortable controller, and the quality is quite nice, so I'm sure you will love this. Swap outs. So like I mentioned earlier, you can swap out I think you can buy some faceplate. Now there's a release button on the back, which I don't really know. I can't do it with my fingers, so I gotta get the Hot Toys Iron Man swap outs here. So you remove this, and you can see one of the biggest issues of these controllers are the stick drift. And once you have one, a regular controller is around like $80 or $70, and then you gotta buy a new one. This is $20. This stick module right here, if you can find it available. So that's the thing. Now you got the FN button here. This is more of a concave. There's like an indentation on the stick. Just want to show you different types, because they do included 4 for $200. That's not bad. I was expecting more from this. And then you can see this one is a little higher, but they're all kind of like just smooth surface. This one, and then you can hear the click, and this one is pretty easy. It just attaches just like so, unlike the Scuff where you have to remove the faceplate altogether. This one's higher, so if you, it depends on your preference really. And then there's one that sits a little lower. So if you're a professional gamer, I'm not. I'm just saying, maybe that matters to you. Maybe the distance of or the height of the stick would give you a competitive edge. It's up to you. Now I'm gonna compare it with other controllers that I had prior to PS5. So I had different ones. I tried them all. So this is the PS4 back in the day. A regular controller, actually a bootleg controller. But if you see in the back, they made an attachment, a back button attachment, and it's pretty cool. It mimics the SCUF. It gives you 2 extra buttons. The one in the middle does click as well. I don't know what that exactly for, but that's all it is. But that's at the same time, I think this was $25. So you kind of mimic these 2 paddles in the back. Of course, it doesn't have the switches on the L1, L2, but honestly, I'd rather have this than to spend another, $200 on a third controller in my case. I couldn't replace the stick, but I've never really experienced any stick drift on. Well, I did. I'm not gonna lie. I did one in the first one. Now this is the SCUF controller, pretty much the same price, $200. This was back in the day when we were playing Modern Warfare on PS2. This is how you control the L2 and R2 back in the day. You kind of just like move it around, and there's only 2 settings compared to 3. But as you can see on Vantage 2, there are 4 paddles on that, so that's more buttons the better. And in here you only got 2. You could there's also, you see the rubber coating on the back. This one is only on the side, so in an essence you kind of get more for your money when it comes to the SCUF. I think SCUF made one for PS5, but I never really looked at it because in hand, the PlayStation controller, maybe the Edge or just the regular controller, just feels good. It just kind of sits right in your hand. And this one, as you can see, there's some heavy damage now on the rubber. My sons used this when they were playing Minecraft, but when I was using it, it didn't really have any damage. You can see the stick positioning here is up and down. This one you could remove the D-pad though. So there's a lot of customization as well. So you could buy a new faceplate. The rumble here, you could remove that. If you feel like it's heavy, you can remove that as well. You see the Vantage 2, and then you can remove the D-pad. Something that you can't do with the Edge. And now you can remove this stick, everything. I think you can remove this as well. And one more thing to mention in here, you can, like I said, they were selling different faceplates and the side buttons. There's some bumpers on the side, and I used to use that for reload. And here, you don't really have one. So there's some things that are lacking into this Edge controller. I like it. I like the customization, but I wish they would have gone one more step, more to get closer to SCUF. And then you got the it's for USB. You can do it wired or the function button, and you can map out the buttons without using a software. It just does the memory. So complicated moves would be a lot better on SCUF because it's recorded in the unit itself. Now I'm gonna compare the two, the normal DualSense controller to the regular controller. So here, obviously, it's just a regular controller. I would still use this. This is the one that I'm gonna use for sports, WWE. That's it. You still see the color difference. This has more blacks on it, shinier part at the bottom. You can see the PS logo as well there. There's gonna be different variations of this Edge controller now, but obviously the stick. So you're paying an extra $120 for the back buttons and the way to replace the stick. Now, real life action here. Normally, I'm not the type of gamer who would just walk around and slide and all that stuff. But you can see here, it's easier for me to do those maneuvers. All I gotta do is just hold the button, and then all of a sudden you go in a prone position, Easy. You don't have to remove your thumb or remove your thumb from the stick. See that? I lifted my thumb. So it's more of a natural motion. You can also jump while doing so, because now you're using your, maybe not your index finger, but your middle finger and your ring finger to do those kind of things. Will it improve the way you play? It does for me, right? It does and I died. I'm not the best player in here, but it does make life easier for me when it comes to these kind of games, first-person games at least. Is it worth the extra 120? If you don't have a second controller, why not? And if you're in a market for one, especially if you can get it for cheap, because not for cheap. This was 160, so essentially this is double the price of a regular controller. So I paid another $70-$80 for the back buttons, and the stick is kind of irrelevant. Maybe mapping the buttons as well, you could do that. But yeah, I basically paid that money for the extra 2 back buttons and the way you could adjust the settings for the L2R2, which does help, especially when sniping. You could easily get into snipe mode because the travel time is a bit shorter. But it is really up to you. If you think this is worth it, I buy in art for like $500. So I mean, I'm not saying it's cheap, but for 160, if it lasts me the duration of PlayStation 5, or if you could use this for PC as well, I think that will be worth it for me in the future. But let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.